Our first guest has not one, but two new television shows, Martha, now in daytime, and The Apprentice, Martha Stewart, which premieres September 21st on NBC. Here's the one, the only Martha Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. You look wonderful. You look tremendous, Martha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the program. And first, you know, during all of this...
I've missed you.
I missed you as well.
I missed you. They told me it was like almost 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like yesterday.
It really does. And in that time, I don't know
You didn't visit me.
I made, every now and then I would make jokes about...
I heard.
Yeah.
We had a TV.
And I felt horrible about it because I just felt like, well, I know this woman for a long time. We're very good friends, and here we are making jokes about a terribly unfortunate situation. So it's nice that you came back.
Well, I know it was all in good fun, and it is your job, and I always stick up for your job.
Well, thank you.
I do.
I appreciate that. Now, let's... Let's go back in. And first of all, there's two parts to this. What exactly happened? Tell people what exactly happened, and then...
When?
Why you went to jail? What were you convicted of? What?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have... One good thing about me, Dave, is that I don't have a long memory for bad things. So I'm trying very hard to put it out of my mind and get on with the future.
But in legal terms, they said, and I'm not trying to be silly about this.
I'm also horrible about legal terms. I'm not a lawyer, and
right.
I was married to that lawyer, remember?
Oh,
and,
God.
I tried to keep all legal terms sort of out of my vocabulary, and maybe I shouldn't have, because... But it was...
Well, I understand the case is still under appeal, is that right?
Yes, it has not been yet ruled on by the appellate division, and we're waiting for that. That's why I'm not going to say anything.
And if the conviction is overturned, how do they restore the time that you spent away?
Well, they don't actually, but I will be happy.
Yes.
Anyway, in any event, I would be very happy.
And do you have a feeling that it is likely to be overturned, or
No,
you
I
don't
have no
know?
feeling whatsoever. I'm trying not to get my hopes up or down in any way.
But you chose at one point rather than wait for the appeal process to go ahead and take the sentence.
Well, I can talk just a little bit about that. When one is convicted and sentenced, you can appeal, and I was allowed to appeal, and I could not go to Yale, as we called it. We always called it Yale. I always wanted to go to Yale, but if I had not gone to Yale, I would have no TV show this fall, not two TV shows. I wouldn't have even one TV show this fall. I would not have, probably not have a business, because everyone waits for things to be over.
A reconciliation of any kind is better than never knowing.
Exactly. So going to Alderson was the best thing I could have done. I'm glad I did. Yeah. And whatever happens now, well, I can think optimistically. I can't, I don't want to say optimistically, but I can think optimistically.
Now, at a certain point before the trial, I heard or read that there was a possibility that there could have been a plea bargain. Is that true or not?
No.
There was never a plea bargain brought to you?
No. I don't plea bargain.
So,
I mean, I would have if I felt I had to.
Right. And the actual conviction was not insider trading, was it?
No, it was not.
It was...
It was about, I think, obstruction of justice.
Obstruction of justice. Now, in your heart, it was a mistake, a mix-up, or do you feel like, well, tell me what you do feel?
Well, since I am on appeal, and I just don't want to talk. I feel a little uncomfortable talking about that right now.
Okay.
I'll come back after the appeal.
All right. So now
I'll clear it up.
Okay, but we can talk about the 5 months you were in prison.
Oh, sure.
Right? Okay, we'll do that when we come. We'll be right back. Everybody in life has those precipice moments where 1 second everything as you know it is as you know it, and the next, even less than a second, everything as you know it might be entirely different.
Right.
So you went through a couple of those. The first was the return of the verdict. What are you thinking when you're waiting to hear the return of the verdict? Do you have a feeling of which way it's going to go, or you don't know?
No, we were pretty optimistic, actually. And when I heard the verdict, I actually thought I was in a bad dream. And then I heard a thunk behind me, and my daughter had fainted.
Oh.
And then I kind of woke up and realized that not only was I hurt, but a lot of other people would be hurt by this verdict. So I was shocked back into reality.
Right. And to what extent, I have a very low threshold of embarrassment. You would probably not know that from watching the show. But I would guess that part of this, just as a human being, the embarrassment of all of this negative attention and sort of feeding frenzy that goes on is hugely embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, I was less embarrassed than horrified. And that's a very different feeling. And horrified, not only for me, but for everybody around me. I mean, all my beautiful employees, the whole thing. It was pretty horrifying.
Right.
And yet, I'm pretty strong. I found out how strong I was during this whole ordeal, and mentally strong, and also physically strong. So I did not allow myself to get depressed. I did not allow myself to get down too much. I faced what I had to face. I lived through it with actually sort of flying colors, if you can live through Yale with flying colors. And I probably would have been Phi Beta Kappa at Yale if I treated it the way I treated it. So anyway, it was, it's horrifying.
But you mentioned something there in a list of other things. You said you did not allow yourself to be depressed, and you just kept going. That's the hardest thing in the world to do on any given day, let alone the circumstances you were facing. But how can you not let yourself get depressed? What do you do? I mean, it's a chemical reaction that kicks in, and then you go.
But I have other good chemicals too, I guess. But I wouldn't take pills, and I wouldn't take any aids. I didn't drink. And I didn't do any of that stuff. I just sort of, waited and did the thing and got it over with.
So now they announce the verdict, and then later there's the sentencing, and that's another one of those moments, and you're thinking, what, maybe just kind of house arrest at the worst, or probation, or?
No, I didn't think. I was pretty prepared for what I got.
Yeah. All right. And take us through that when you. It's one of those deals like it's the middle of the night. They check you in, and
are you in trouble? Why do you want to know all this?
Because, I mean, you really have been in the fire. You've been tested.
Yeah.
And I think everybody wants to know, gosh, how would I hold up under those things?
Am I more attractive?
Yes, you are. Believe me. But,
See, that's what's so crazy. You shouldn't be, Nobody should even, want to talk to me about it.
Really? But no, I find it...
But everybody's curious, very curious. And actually, a women's... institution like Alderson is not a terribly frightening place. It's frightening when one day I was walking up the hill, and I told some friends this, and I realized that, gosh, these 1,100 women, it's all about them. I mean, they have to walk up that hill every single day. They have to contact their families because the families can't contact them other than by letter. They have to keep in touch. They have to do all the work. And I was so fortunate because every single visiting day I had a guest, except the day you didn't show.
Yeah. But again, that moment when you go in and you realize, although it's a relatively short period of time, still in all it's 5 years out of a very productive...
5 months.
5 months. To me, it would be 5 years. It's 5 months out of a very productive, fruitful life. I mean, was there panic? Did you have...
No, I asked my fellow inmates a couple months later, I said, how did I behave that first day? Because everybody's watching me.
Yeah.
They said I was walking around in a daze. I smiled at everybody, said hi to everybody, even probably people I shouldn't have said hello to. But I said hi to everybody and shook everybody's hand. But I was in a daze. I don't remember that first day at all.
Were your fellow inmates in for, was there any terrible
No,
crimes?
this is a totally nonviolent
facility.
crimes.
Did you make friends there?
Oh, many. And they're very nice.
Yeah. And what kind of things did you do there? I mean, you had jobs, you had tasks?
I had a job for about 12 cents an hour. And I remember telling the captain, who was a very nice man, But I remember telling him, I asked him for a pair of work boots because one of my jobs was working inside and outside of the captain's office. And I asked him for a pair of work boots because all I had was my sneakers that I came in with. They let me keep them for some reason. And because they were on a budget cut because of the war. And so they didn't have shoes for me. And I asked him for a pair of work boots, and he said, oh, they didn't have any, I'd have to buy some. So I figured out it was 500 hours of work, or 600 hours of work at the 12 cents an hour and what they were charging for the boots. So I called them my 600-hour boots.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in moments of lightheartedness in this condition, in this circumstance?
Oh yeah, you're always trying to laugh. Everybody's trying to be lighthearted and get on with the days. And you know, I was a short-termer, so that wasn't so bad. But the people who were in there for a long time, they also tried to keep up a demeanor of lightheartedness. They had to.
Anybody resent you because of your status and accomplishments?
Oh, maybe. I heard some remarks behind my back, but pretty much friendliness.
But didn't no fights, no hair pulling, no smacking around?
Well, one day I fell against a wall and I slipped on some wet floor and I got a really bad black and blue mark on my arm, and people noticed the black and blue mark. I got called right down, and wanted to know who I had been in a fight with.
Oh man! Oh man!
And I wasn't in a fight, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe I should have told you about this. I didn't know how black it would get, you know." And it was, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get any fights. Hardly any altercations.
And what have we learned here? I mean, this experience has to teach you many things.
Well, it teaches you that the penal system, I mean, if you want to be serious about it, the rehabilitation really is non-existent for the most part.
In terms of rehabilitation,
yeah,
that does not
yeah,
exist.
I worry about that. And in terms of personal, I found out that I could really exist with pretty much nothing. 5 months without good food is a problem for almost anybody, but you can live for 5 months without food, or drink, or you know, any luxuries whatsoever.
I heard you say that the soufflés were just horrible.
Yeah, I don't remember any soufflés at all.
Prison soufflés. And then late at night, is it true you used to sneak into the kitchen and drink Sterno, or did I?
I don't think there was no Sterno available.
And now you're out of prison and you're doing television shows. And how is the television show going? Tell us about the Martha Show.
Well, I'm having so much fun with the Martha Show, and tomorrow's a really great day. It's the Martha Stewart Day. We found out that there were 2,000 Martha Stewarts in America.
People with the same name.
And 180 of them or so have showed up in New York, and they're all going to be on the show tomorrow. And I just wanted to kind of apologize for having the same name for the last couple years. Because some of them, one lady, you'll see on the show, but one lady said that she had run for an election 3 years ago and won in a landslide for an assessor in her town, and then she had to run again 2 years later, and she lost in a landslide, and and I felt so sorry for her.
Wow.
But it had nothing to do with her talents as an assessor, of course. But it's going to be a fun show. I love the live audience. I see now why you have a live audience, even though I can't see the live audience in this dark studio. In my studio, you can see the audience. The audience is right on our stage, you know, it's right close up, and everybody's, and they're participatory, so I get them to bring stuff. We had a wonderful day when they brought their favorite house plant. Wouldn't that be fun?
Now, I just want to revisit one thing, because I want to make sure I'm not missing something here. Your composure and presentation here this evening, and this, by the way, is mostly the context I know you in.
Yeah.
It seems to be happy, unflappable, cheerful, positive. And you said that the worst part of all of this was you were horrified and concerned about not so much yourself, but your family and everybody else, and continuing the business and so on and so forth. Honestly, is that the worst it got for you through all of this?
Yeah, because, you know, you worry about the people you're taking care of that rely on you. I have a big company, Dave. And, you know, I didn't want that company to go away because of this.
I understand all practical concerns, but what about concerns for your well-being, your, you know, physically and mentally? This is, you know, this is not like a day in traffic court.
I'm really strong, Dave. And I can take care of myself.
But you know, we had Russell Crowe on here, and he.
I love Russell Crowe.
Yeah, but I mean, he behaved like a frightened bunny compared to you.
He did?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he had thrown a cell phone at somebody,
I know, I heard that.
and he just you could tell that he was disturbed and concerned by the whole thing.
Well, it can ruin his life, actually.
Well,
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about with you. This
But
whole.
this can't ruin my life, because I just don't feel guilty. And I don't feel, and I feel I had an unfair trial. And all that stuff.
So there must be then a great sense of.
So I can feel good.
Feel good. But what about a sense of outrage? Do you feel outrage about this?
That doesn't do you any good in the system. It just doesn't. So you have to go through the legal process. You have to do the thing. You have to be mature. You have to trust your advisors. You have to do all that stuff and get on with it.
Do you think jail would be right for me?
It'd probably do you some good.
Martha, on now every day, and Martha, The Apprentice, Martha Stewart premieres September 21st.
Are you gonna watch?
Oh, I'll be there.
Oh, please.
Well, it's a great pleasure to see you again. I hope you come back.
Yeah.
You look tremendous.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being so good about this. Nice job.